Hey, you guys, so I want to teach on the root of offense. So, what I'm going to do, I've been studying, and I studied on offense for years because the enemy always would entrap me with taking offenses through people. And I learned a lot of hard lessons in this, and so the Lord just stirred me up to teach on it and then share some of my testimony and experience from it. So every once in a while I'm gonna be looking down at the notes that I wrote down. And so first off, the word offense is an annoyance or a resentment brought about as an insult to oneself or one's principle. Biblically, it is an action of a cause of someone to stumble or to sin. It could be a stumbling block, and it can hinder your relationship with God, right? So the Greek word for offense means entrapment or to entice. So the spiritual root of offense, it is found in pride, unforgiveness, and in a lack of humility. Ooh, right? So it can manifest a spirit of offense, which is a demonic influence. These demonic influences, they thrive on your negative emotions. Also anger and bitterness and unforgiveness. So this spirit can lead to a cycle of hurt, right? So as I'm reading it and studying on it and knowing to watch this seed of darkness that has taken root in my life for a long time, God gave me this revelation of when we get attacked by just people with spirits on them, witches, warlocks, family members, friends or so-called friends. They do it with a dark purpose behind it. Especially, they attack Christians. Even before you ever got saved, they like you to get offended, because what it does, it hardens your heart and it gets you bitter, right? And full of unforgiveness. And I learned from walking in darkness so long and being offended that I've had people coming against me that were sent in from the enemy to harden my heart, to make me bitter. He gave me this revelation, I want to say a while back. I can't think of how many months. And I love to study. I'm a book nerd. Look, I love to study because one of my offices is a teacher, and I love it. So I love to study names, right? And in the Bible, people name their kids with meaning, right? And as you read, especially in the Old Testament, they would name their kids certain things, and they had horrible meaning. And then there's that godly influence where they were named with strong godly names, right? So whenever I started, this was 10 years ago when I first got saved, maybe a year into it, when I was in ministry school, I looked up what my name meant, Elizabeth. Now, see, first, I never liked to go by that name. I was named after my grandma's baby sister, who was a nun, and she went into the convent when she was around 19 years old. So I always looked at her as a holy lady. And so when I became a rebellious teenager, I never wanted to go by that name because I never felt worthy enough to carry it. And I was raised up in darkness and some dark arts. And so when I got saved, the Lord told me I would not go by Liz anymore, because a lot of people in the streets know me by Liz. And so when I got saved, the Lord had me look up the meaning of Elizabeth. And it's an oath to God, a promise, a true worshiper of Yahweh. And it moved me, and I was like, this whole time, I see why the enemy didn't want me to carry that name. It's a promise, right? And also, named after my grandmother, my middle name, and it's Marie. And I looked that up, and that means bitter. You see where I'm going with this? Well, it never dawned on me till a few, I don't know, months ago that when you put Elizabeth and Marie together and the meanings behind the name, it's a promise that Elizabeth would be bitter. Boom. I'm like, okay, I see why I was named that. And I had to come out of agreement and break the curse of me being named that. Now, Elizabeth the promise, no, but that I was promised and made an oath in this covenant with bitterness from all the trauma and betrayal and all kinds of stuff. The enemy wanted me to stay in agreement with that name and to stay bitter and offended from everything I went through. And if you've listened to my testimony before, it's wild and it's crazy, and I'll share some more of it. But he wants me to stay in a bitter place. He wants me to get offended through betrayal and hurt and pain from my past. And when this dawned on me, it was a game changer. I did a little video last night, and it took everything in me to come on again after what happened the last few months, because I was on fire doing videos. And like I said, I don't like to be on camera, right? And to talk on video, it's just weird. I love pictures, but video is just strange. I got to get used to it. And then after what just happened to me, because I got into this relationship, and because I had some confusion about my promise, and I don't want to focus the video just on that, but the enemy sent in a counterfeit, right? Because there was some confusion and some hurt and not understanding some things at the time, and he sent in a counterfeit, right? And I'm just grateful the relationship was only 2 months. It felt like a freaking year, right? So at first everything was okay, and I would pick up things because I'm gifted, but I was like, I've been through so much trauma and betrayal and narcissistic relationships. I was like, maybe I'm just, there's some wounds that aren't healed or something. So I was trying to give the guy the benefit of the doubt, and made everything look good when they were involved in church. And so I was like, maybe I'm just, because I'm still wounded. Well, he would say things, or certain people he knew would say things, and then he'd be like, are you offended? Like, he would always say that don't offend you. It was like, and I was like, are you trying to get me offended? Because I'm not. And like his whole demeanor would change. And I started to pick up things that I knew deep down. I was like, something's off. And it kept getting worse and worse, and all kind of things happened. And the enemy, he literally told me towards the end, once he knew I knew, he said, I was sent in to mutilate your heart. Like, dang, right? Once he knew I knew, because he said something one day, and he was like, you keep exposing me. And I was like, I never came live about anything he was doing. I never told anybody about it. But I would catch things because of my giftings and the Holy Spirit that's in me, and it would expose it and I'd call it out. And that's exposure. And he finally told me I was sent in to mutilate your heart. And I said, you're bold. You came in a church to come after me. Very bold. So they are bold. And the plan is the enemy sends people in to mutilate your heart, to harden your heart, to get you offended, to get you entrapped. And once you take offense, it blocks you from the Lord. And it could damage your relationship with God. And they don't want you to walk in a spirit of forgiveness. They don't want you to receive the blessings from Yahweh. Because if you walk in forgiveness and you truly love the Lord and love your neighbor as yourself and you forgive your enemies, they cannot stop the blessings. They cannot block the promises. But if you are holding on to stuff and you allow who the enemy sends in to get you bitter and offended, it could stunt some things in your life. And like I said, I learned very hard lessons. But I'm grateful. I hate that, I got into this relationship where deep down there was like this knowing he's not the one. But I had so much confusion from witchcraft on my life because I come out of the occult in a family with a dark bloodline, and they don't want to let me go. And I'm finally, the Lord had to, after I got out of the relationship, I had to go back on my family's land. And some wild things took place there. I'll share on it later. And I love my family, no matter what. And they know my heart. I have the heart of the Father because I was chosen. But the enemy has had me veiled in so many things. And the more I walk with the Lord, the more revealed and the more lessons and the more fires. But I'm a lover. Now, have I fought and done wild things? Yes. And I was in survival mode. But deep down, I'm a lover. But I'll fight for my family. And God's like, you have to fight in the spirit, Elizabeth, because my flesh could get a little off the chain sometimes. And when I had that revelation of how my name was cursed and an oath, a promise to be bitter, I was like, God, that's what the enemy wanted, because he wanted me to stay in his camp. He didn't want me to come out and speak truth because he knows I'm bold as a lioness. Yes, me admitting my fears last night, that, yeah, I do get afraid because I have so many people come against me, y'all. Most people, if the hand of God wasn't on them like his hand is on me, they would have folded, they would have broke, they would be mentally insane, no sound mind, afraid to come outside. Like, y'all, when I tell you big organizations and elites coming after me, and the people that know, they know. And I've been played crazy. Like recently, I got sent in the hospital and I was trying to get away because I'm going to admit my faults. I used again. After I came out of the last one the enemy sent to destroy me with black magic and make me bitter, because he was, it's a whole nother story and I don't want to focus on that, but I used. And when I use, rage comes out, and I'm not who God created me to be. And I had to sit, but God taught me something through these demonic relationships, through a lot. Like, even, okay, y'all, I had to go and get away off the land. So I put myself in treatment to get away, to be away from everything for a month, to get sober and to heal. And so it was like I had to get away for a little minute, and I had to regroup. I had to get these drugs out of my system. And God used it to get me off of my family's land. My family does not want to let me go. There's so many generational curses and cycles of poverty. They don't want me to succeed. When I tell you the enemy has stolen just about everything from me except my life, my smile, my joy. And he's taken that at times, but I gave it to him. Even knowing the word, even being a warrior for the Lord, I admit my weaknesses. I admit, and it's humbling in my flaws, in my mistakes. And but God used it for me to get off the land. And now I'm living with a bunch of girls in a mission home. And I'm having to start from all over. No vehicle again. That's gone. No money again, but I'm taken care of right now. And God has been wanting me to teach on YouTube and Facebook. And when I started, the enemy didn't like it because I'm exposing and more people were seeing me. Not just the people in the ministries or the churches I was in. My message has been spreading. And God has been wanting me to go live and to teach and to build my finances through my giftings, because I never did that. Like when I was in ministry, I never charged for my giftings or teachings or anything like that. And he's doing a new thing in me, and the enemy is gonna fight me, y'all. Look, I'm used to it, and I learned I don't get offended no more. Now, I get hurt, but I learned to let it go because I know it is a strong tool and weapon, sharper than any dagger, to stop the blessings of God. No more. I told the last guy, I said, when he kept asking me, are you offended? And he wanted me to be. I said, you know what? I have been through so much that these things are making my skin tough. And we, being chosen, being Christians, we have to be. Because the enemy lurks around seeking whom he can devour. Especially if you used to be in his camp. And you know a lot of things. And he knows you're bold enough or called to speak it out. He's going to do anything in his power to keep you or destroy you. Kill, steal, and destroy. If it wasn't for who I am in the kingdom, I would have been dead a long time ago. A long time ago. And this thing with offense, I was watching some old Facebook lives of me, and this witch came on my live. And I never met her before, but I know the spirit. And she kept telling me to get a job and a life. And I was watching it, and I got a little, and I saw it, but she was sent in, and then the Holy Spirit said, "Babe, don't you see? And I was just teaching on offense, and so it was like, I'm like, God, this is what they do when they see you get a little healing or freedom, or you're exposed. They're gonna come in to entrap you, to entice you to sin, because they want you to be just like them. Especially if you came out of that, they don't want you to be free. They don't want you to teach on how to get free. So I pray for anyone who is struggling with offense, let it go. Because what it's hurting is you, and it's hurting your relationship with the Father. And you're coming into agreement with a demonic spirit when you're offended and bitter. Bitterness is like drinking poison, thinking it's going to hurt the other person. But it's hurting you. So, and these people, these demons and these people feed off, energy. And I'm not new age or nothing, but it steals from us when we come into agreement with it. It steals the essence out of us. And like I say, I learned hard lessons. This knucklehead, man. But God, he reminded me too the other day, because man, I love the Psalms. I'm a woman, David, right? And since I've been saved and since 2015, I would always stand in warfare prayer. Lord, teach my hands how to war and my fingers how to battle. Well, and then I'm like, when I get in these situations or warfare hits, I'm like, Lord, I'm in the school of the Spirit. And how will you learn how to warfare effectively if you're not in it? I'm learning not to complain about it, to pick up my mat and walk, and not let offense or bitterness or unforgiveness paralyze me and stunt my calling, stunt the mission on my life that the Lord has. I allowed it too long. So I just wanted to share that little nugget from heaven, from my learning lessons. I don't teach on nothing that I haven't walked through, so I'm going to be faithful to start doing videos every day. Subscribe if you like. I know a lot of witches and warlock. I'm monitored, so they watch me. So I don't blow up, or so it don't blow up all over YouTube, because they don't want the message in my testimony getting out. But I'm not going to stop. I'm resilient.